Hey everyone, my name is Paul, and in a previous video I talked about how to use Blue Iris with MQTT commands to send those to a broker so that way they can control MQTT enabled smart devices in your home. In my case, a couple light switches. In this video I'd like to talk about how to use HTTP messaging to control those Tasmota capable smart devices in your home. Um, so I did a little bit more research as I have a bad habit of just skimming over documentation looking for uh, parts that are relevant to me, so I miss a whole bunch of other stuff. Anyway, to get right to the point, we can use HTTP URLs to control Tasmota devices. So let me show you how that works. Specifically from Blue Iris, that's the point of the video. Um, so that way you can eliminate your MQTT broker and go directly from Blue Iris to your smart devices. So here's my Blue Iris server. I'm going to get into the camera settings for my office so I can demo that. Um, Spoke earlier about how you can create uh, an alert or you can trigger an alert um, based upon an event that gets triggered by your camera. So when the trigger happens, you go to Actions, you go to On Alert, and previously we talked about MQTT. This one I've added an HTTP version. HTTP version to do the same thing that MQTT does. The command structure is a little bit different. So when you do get into on alert settings, give it a description and choose here HTTP. And the string looks like this. It's in my case, it's the IP address 10.31.0.61 for my office lights / CM question mark CMND equals power space on. And that is a HTTP string that will get sent directly to the um, Tasmota capable smart device. Now a little bit disclaimer here. I've programmed my switches with static IP addresses. If you don't do that and you continue to use IPs in your switches that are assigned from a DHCP server, it's going to make it a little bit more difficult because first you have to identify what that HTTP assignment is in the switch, and then it could be subject to change. So um, in my case, I assigned them static addresses. That way I know they'll never change. Um, and that way, I can keep track of the IP addresses and know which device I'm gonna control. Anyway, so on an alert, this is a string. Use HTTP followed by an IP address with the remaining URL to turn the lights on. And in opposite fashion, when the alert resets, we can do the same thing. We can use an HTTP URL string, the IP address followed by the structure and the word power space off as compared to on. So when the alert timer expires, it'll turn the lights back off. That's it. That eliminates the MQTT broker. You won't need anything else in your home except for your MQTT enabled smart device, Blue Iris, as long as they're on the same LAN or, if you create a big enough subnet, whatever. But point is, um, you can go directly from Blue Iris right to the device, this time not using a broker. So if you don't need a broker for anything else, um, this step will eliminate that. Much more convenient, streamlined. That's kind of how I roll. With that being said, I want to talk about now some of the other things you can do with your HTTP URLs to control your devices. So since it's HTTP, you can use um, you can use those HTTP strings directly from a browser. So for example, here in my browser, I've got a string HTTP with my address, the same command structure as you saw in Blue Iris. In this case, um, it's power %20 on. That %20 is an ASCII string representing a space. You don't have to use it. You can use it a little space. I just left it in there. So power space on, and the opposite, power space off. Um, so you can use your browser. So if I hit enter with the off command, my lights go off. Boom, boom, out go the lights. Turn my lights back on. I can go to that particular uh, browser string, HTTP string, hit it, my lights come back on. Now, of course, this is a pain because you're dealing with a browser, right? Now you can create desktop shortcuts with that URL, that HTTP URL. Put and make a shortcut on your desktop and invoke your lights that way. It will still bring up your default browser. Kind of a pain in the butt. So did a little bit more research and came up with a way to do a shortcut without invoking the browser. So give you an example of that. That string invokes programming language, in this case, curl executable. Now I don't know anything about programming languages, but that's what the documentation said. And I don't know if this comes with just Windows Pro or Windows 10. I'll leave that to you to kind of figure out. But anyway, you're invoking C:\Windows /system32 directory curl.exe with a switch of -I. And then it's the same URL that I've shown you previously in Blue Iris. HTTP : the address, and the rest of the command string. That's what you would place in a desktop shortcut if you want to turn your lights on and off without invoking a browser. So I'll give you an example of that. I've created 4 shortcuts, 2 for my office, 2 for my garage. So if I want my office lights off, I can click my shortcut. A momentary command window came up while running the curl executable, and then my lights go off. Very fast. Lights on. Again, doesn't invoke a browser, but does send the HTTP request to the switch. So I can do the same thing for my garage being here. So if I want my garage lights on, click a shortcut on my desktop, and my garage lights off. And there they go. So that's it. A little bit more convenience instead of using or running a MQTT broker that you have to keep track of and make sure you got it configured correctly. This way, you're cutting right to the chase. Blue Iris, right to your smart device, your Tasmota smart device, running an HTTP string, done. So for somebody like me who just wants a couple lights to get turned on and off when a Blue Iris camera trigger event happens, perfect solution. Last thing I want to ask is for those of you watching the video, if you could kind of help me out. I am looking for, where is it? I am looking for a Android app that will do both Google Smart Home compatible devices, and in my case, all my outlets in my house are Miros, which are compatible with Google Home. But I'm looking for an app that does both Google Home devices and MQTT or Tasmota, right? So I've got 2 apps on my smartphone. It's a pain. I've got one app to control my Google Home smart devices, and another app. In this case, this one is Tasmotrol. Anyway, so I have to run this one internally on my Wi-Fi on my network to control my office lights, my garage lights from this app. I've yet to come across an app that does both, that is cross-compatible, with Google Home compatible devices and Tasmota devices. So if anybody knows of one that can be programmed and you can configure to do both, genres of smart home devices, I, please drop me a line. Let me know in your comments because I need one. This is having two. I hate efficiency is where I'm at. I hate having two apps to do basically the same thing. So anybody who knows something that could help me out, that'd be greatly appreciated. Again, thanks for watching. If you liked it, leave a comment. If you didn't like it, leave a comment. I'm happy either way. And thanks for watching. Have a great one.